Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for investing your time tonight to join us live on Twitter Spaces. My name is Johnny Jai from Solv Protocol. Just a refresher that the PERP IBO will officially launch on February 17th, which is tomorrow, at 1 p.m. UTC or 9 p.m. Singapore time. And we're drawing 5 lucky whitelist winners from the audience here tonight who have given Solv Protocol and Perpetual Protocol a Twitter follow and have retweeted our most recent tweet with a question for Perpetual Protocol. And some details about tomorrow's PERP IVU. Perpetual Protocol is looking to be raising up to 4 million USDC by issuing a convertible voucher on the Solv platform that has a bond range of 0.5 times the 7-day time-weighted average price of per token to about twice the 7-day time-weighted average price of the token. It also comes with an estimated APR of about 5% and a maturity date on June 18th, 2022, which is exactly 4 months from tomorrow. And we have invited here Nick Tong, head of strategy at Perpetual Protocol, a decentralized trading platform for derivatives that has amassed tremendous interest in DeFi world as of late. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, my colleague and my co-founder of Solv Protocol, Ryan Chow. Thanks for being here, Ryan.
Hey, guys.
So the format of today's space is going to be closer to a 20 to 30 minute community call, followed by a short Q&A session where we'll be taking questions from a live audience. I will be moderating the space today and make sure that our discussion stays in a controlled time frame. In the meantime, Nick and Ryan will be talking to us about Perpetual's big convertible voucher launch tomorrow and the convertible voucher as an investment product for investors and a financing tool for projects. Okay, so Nick and Ryan, maybe we can start with briefly introducing yourselves as well as the protocol that you're working for. Maybe, why don't we start with Ryan?
Okay. And yeah, Johnny, it seems this is the first time we start this Twitter space, take the Twitter space as our a community call, right? And yeah, so welcome all the participants today, and really appreciate your time. And I'm Ryan Cho. I'm the co-founder of Solv Protocol. And Solv Protocol is a decentralized platform for minting, trading, and managing financial NFTs. We really believe that financial NFTs could be a key primitive for the next era of DeFi. Yeah, Nick?
Sure. As kind of introduced, I head up kind of partnerships and strategy at Perpetual Protocol. Perpetual Protocol is effectively a decentralized kind of perpetual futures exchange. We've been around for about a year now. V1 started out on XDAI. We kind of pioneered the VAMM model. And then we more recently, kind of in December last year, launched V2 on Optimism. We've seen about circa maybe over kind of 40 billion in terms of cumulative trading volume, and looking to kind of grow that with kind of a partnership with Solv.
Awesome. Well, thanks you guys for sharing that. And by the way, Nick, I heard you guys are making solid progress on Perpetual Protocol V2, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's...
Would you like to tell us more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the really interesting thing that we look at least is kind of comparing, like the easiest comparison for us is V1 against V2. So one of the things that we've seen at least is V1, for example, I think has about 16 odd markets versus V2. We currently have about 5 or 6 markets, I believe now. And the trading volume is actually same, if not higher, on V2 than it is on V1, and same with kind of the users numbers, and same with kind of everything else. So we're very kind of happy with the volumes that we're kind of seeing out, and it's kind of made a lot of sense for us to kind of move towards kind of this V2 model, and especially kind of deploying on Optimism as well.
Awesome. And I realized that you guys are kind of integrating with Uniswap V3, right? In the aspect of concentrated liquidity, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can talk a little bit about that. So with V1, from a model perspective, the easiest way to think about it is when someone kind of trades, they effectively mint kind of like a virtual token, and they swap it into this kind of Uniswap V2 pool. So in the case of, like, let's say ETH USDC, how you get your leverage, you deposit, let's say, 100 USDC, you mint kind of 200 virtual USDC, you swap it for virtual ETH, and that's kind of your position. So that's how you get your leverage. V2 actually is exactly the same, except we replace the Uniswap kind of V2 pool with a Uniswap V3 pool. So suddenly it kind of opens the world up for capital efficiency, as well as the ability, I guess, for you to kind of place all these limit orders and range orders, and it just opens up a new world for traders, basically.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like a really, really cool, tool in the making. It sounds like, offering a deep liquidity and, low cost solution for the users is the name of the game for Perpetual and Solv Protocol right now. And it's really cool to see our visions are aligning that way. So, obviously the reason we're all here today is the PERP IVO launch tomorrow. So, Ryan, maybe you can try to explain, like, everyone here is five, what exactly is a convertible voucher and why it is a good idea to adopt this tool.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So convertible vouchers, simply put, is a kind of a combination of a bonds with a options. So when investors who purchase these convertible vouchers, actually, you are buying a bonds plus a option. So how it works. Firstly, for the projects or for the DAOs, they will set up a price range around their spot price, and at maturity, if the price still fall into the price range, then these vouchers would be executed as a bond. So you will earn some interest and get back your principals. That's the situation for bonds. And if the price higher than the higher limit, then the upper limit, it means that you are buying PERP token at the price of that upper limit. So for this time, the upper limit is 2x than the spot price. So it's around $12 for PERP token. And if the price lower than lower limit, it means that you are buying the the PERP tokens at the lower bond price. So now it will be around $3. But yeah, as you know, if the price finally like a fall at a $15 or $20, it seems it's way higher than $12. So you would be able to earn a certain of upside. But on the other hand, if the price like dropped to $1 per token, then but you bought a PERP token at the price of $3, it means that you will lost some money, right? So that's how it works. And yeah, there's a combination you need to figure out.
Right. So that's really loud and clear. So basically, the way I understand is when the future price of the tokens, the future price for the underlying token, I guess, falls into that so-called range. Then the voucher will execute like a zero, well, basically like a zero coupon bond, right? Right,
yes.
Ryan? Right. And then will the investor or the holder of the convertible voucher receive stablecoin or project token at this point?
Yes, as we discussed, a perpetual team would transfer back the stable coins when the price in the price range. And
Right.
but yeah, Nick, you can maybe talk a little bit about this. And yeah, and if the price out of the range, then it will be in the form of the tokens.
Right. Okay. So then, Ryan, then why do you think it's a good idea to adopt this tool?
Yeah. So now actually it's full of uncertainty in the space. That's now whether we are in a bull market or still in the bull market, or we are already in the bear market. So actually now it's a unstable climate. So actually, if you are bullish on something, some tokens, and if you just buy the tokens, actually you have to bear such kind of a very high volatility, a kind of possibility. But if you take these convertible vouchers, you will find out that there is a price range around the spot price. So mostly, if you take a look at the historical the price data of PERP token, most of the time the token range from maybe $4 to $10. Yeah, kind of a range. So we should say, if we take this as a reference, then maybe it's a very a kind of a stable or healthy return, a kind of a investment. So because mostly it will be executed as a bond, so at least you can earn some interest back, and in this in this unstable climate.
Thank you, Ryan. And next question for Nick. A lot of investors are probably thinking, well, with the PERP token out on the spot market, you can just purchase with your wallet. Why at this point? Why would someone interested in investing in Perpetual Protocol consider buying a PERP convertible voucher rather than a PERP token in the spot market?
That's an interesting question. I guess it depends on kind of the risk appetite, right? Like, I mean, there's a number of use cases that I see, which is kind of one, maybe you don't want to have kind of the exposure necessarily to PERP, but you might want the upside of it. And so I almost think of this as kind of, for a regular investor at least, the way we've kind of constructed it is it's almost kind of like a fixed income product, but you have the additional cherry on top, which is you have the potential upside if it kind of breaches that upper bound. Secondly, like, the rates are a lot higher than something like an Aave or a compound. So I actually think that kind of makes the most sense. And then I guess to Ryan's point previously, the other way you can kind of think about it, I guess, is you have almost like a limit order, I guess, where if it kind of falls above the range, if it ends up above the range, then you've effectively bought kind of PERP and you're holding PERP, but anything kind of below that, you're not kind of buying or holding. So I guess it just depends on at the end of the day, like, an investor's appetite in terms of kind of risk and what they want to do.
Right. I think you're right that the voucher is, providing a solution for investors who want to invest in tokens with the unique risk profiles. So that's really interesting. And at the same time, I think I have a feeling that we're beginning to finally step into the territory of DAO's treasury management. Which is really, really important for projects that have tons of idle tokens sitting in their treasury all day. And of course, there's currently numerous ways to go about diversifying a treasury, which is, whether it's, selling native tokens, forming strategic partnerships, or over collateralizing the token asset, right? So I guess my follow-up question for Nick is, how would you define healthy treasury management for a DAO, and why, out of so many existing treasury management tools or strategies, you pick the convertible voucher?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I guess we went through a similar exercise. I guess if you look at the ways that kind of treasuries have funded themselves historically, a lot of the times you're basically selling tokens, right? Like, and which is all well and good, kind of when you're a small company. It's akin to, I guess, a startup and fundraising through it. But as you get kind of bigger and bigger, selling tokens is basically the equivalent of selling equity, right? Like, and doing that is kind of super expensive, right? Like, it's the most expensive type of kind of financing that you can get around. So that's kind of the first point. So when we started this journey, we basically were looking at what kind of debt instruments are kind of available for us to kind of borrow against because we believe the price of PERP is going to go up, and we believe very strongly that it's going to go up. So why should we sell now when we can kind of utilize it better in the future? When we started exploring, basically, there's not that much on the market, right? Like you can't. PERP is, I don't know, let's call it a mid-cap, kind of blue chip mid-cap kind of DeFi protocol. But it's very hard for us to kind of borrow and lend based on it. So there's not kind of much assets available. Most of the things that are available are kind of your very, very large kind of blue chip protocols. That's kind of where you can borrow and lend. But you have other things like, I don't know, like Arari Fuse maybe and whatnot. And then that leads into the second point. So out of the things that are currently available, what is there that's available? A lot of it is kind of money markets. But the problem with money markets from kind of a treasury management perspective is that a lot of the rates are variable. And it's problematic if you have incidents like, I don't remember when it was, but like when Justin Sun like decided to pull all the money out of Aave or whatnot, like the rates spiked, right? Like the rates spiked massively. So
Right.
the question really was for us, like, can we find a debt product that has kind of fixed tenure as well as a fixed price? Because once you have that, then kind of the modeling and the treasury modeling becomes a lot easier. You can figure out how long my runway is, how much I need to borrow, who should I borrow from, how should I borrow, and basically scouring all of this. The only thing that we can really see on the market right now that kind of makes sense is kind of Solv. Yes, there are probably other things. Maybe you spin up a custom compound fork and you do stuff like that. But again, you have kind of the other problems around the need for kind of the fixed interest rates and kind of the fixed tenure. So yeah, that's kind of what makes the most sense for us. And then I guess we just after a lot of stables, and we kind of want to utilize the PERP that we have without selling it. And so this kind of made the most sense for us from kind of just a treasury management perspective.
That was a really terrific answer, Nick. Thank you. I really hope this launch will work out for you. From a financing point of view, and it's definitely good to see some conviction in Solv vouchers from the side of from your side too. So, and now
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I have some points for this topic as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so my good friend Yuan Han at Blockchain Capital, actually he has published a article about DAO treasury management, and he mentioned that actually three things that all the DAOs need to consider about are one, to retain the protocol revenue and non-operating income generated from treasury assets. So how to use the idle tokens to generate some operating income would be a very important point. That would be the first point. And secondly, to sell native tokens for stable coins or Ethereum or kind of assets to maintain their operations, the daily operations. That would be the second one. And the third one is take on debt. So how to borrow against the native tokens. So actually for convertible vouchers is a kind of a solution for the third one, take on a debt, right? And as I can see, Nick, you have cooperated with Ribbon, a protocol, to generate some income based on your PERP tokens, right? So would like to hear your opinions on this. Like on the first point, what kind of maybe there are some other protocols are doing some similar things, but you pick a Ribbon, and maybe it can be our reference in the future for Solv Protocol, for Solv token, and that's one thing. And secondly, maybe there are some competitors like convertible vouchers in the space, like instead of except from like Compound or RV and some other maybe some other alternatives there. So what do you think of this, and what do you think of convertible voucher?
Yeah, I mean, on the point of kind of Ribbon's new product, so Ribbon kind of launched effectively a treasury product directly towards DAOs, And yeah, like the 3 points that you're saying, I agree with kind of the last two. The first point, we already kind of had a bunch of stables, I guess. So we did kind of sell some at the beginning through kind of like a balancer kind of LPP bootstrapping pool, but the ribbon piece kind of makes sense for us to kind of generate some income, and we almost see it as we can utilize potentially ribbon to maybe pay off some of the interest of this, or we use it to pay off operational expenses. But I think it's just more tools that are coming online and becoming available to other kind of DAOs to kind of manage their cash flows better. Because if you think about it, compared to a Web2 company, 99% of these DAOs, they don't have income, right? Like all the income goes to the LP, so it doesn't accrue in the treasury, and so you're running at a loss at most of the time. And yes, you might have a lot of runway, but you need to make that sustainable at some point in time. So we've got plenty of runway, but we need to start. We just want to start building kind of that finance muscle to make sure that in kind of 10 years time, we're still here, right? Like we're still operating, we're cash flow positive. We have enough runway to kind of pay for everything and run everything. And this is just like different strategies to kind of have enough cash, I guess.
Gotcha.
On your second point about convertible vouchers, I honestly haven't seen much, if kind of anything else in the market. I guess actually the only other thing that kind of potentially comes to mind is like maybe what Uma's done with kind of the framework that they have, which is interesting, but I guess it's not super DAO friendly, right? Like there's no kind of UI that's built in. You have to kind of go source the liquidity. Like you have to find the counterparty yourself. You got to find the lenders. You got to do all the work yourself, and they just provide like an infrastructure layer for you to kind of do it. So I guess it's similar. Like there are definitely product differences, but kind of the ease of use and the fact that it's almost like we can treat Solv as kind of like a treasury management service or like one component of it. That's the thing that kind of made it the most interesting piece for us, because we didn't have to then go talk to like 300 investors and pitch to everyone and then do the paperwork, and we didn't have to go through that process. So it's been very seamless and kind of very painless in this sense.
Got you. I think you pointed out the right way we should go forward. So like a very DAO friendly a product, user experience, and also to help pitch the investors for the DAOs to raise money, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Got you. Yeah.
Right. So that sort of already kind of led to the next question I wanted to ask Ryan. Obviously after convertible vouchers, Solv is going to continue to make products for the projects and investors for different purposes. I guess currently we're sort of focusing on the side of the treasury management side of things. Could you maybe touch upon briefly, in terms of products, what does Solv Protocol have in view after the rollout of the convertible vouchers? And the second question is, what is, and then you already kind of talked about this, but what is Solv's next step for, DAO's treasury management, both the short term or and long term?
Yeah, gotcha. So for the convertible vouchers, actually, recently we are thinking of to just optimize the function for maybe the 2.0, the version 2.0. So what is it? And so now in conventional finance, a convertible bond, it's more like a bond instead of more like a equities. So for all the companies which issue the bonds, they will finally they must finally pay back the fiat no matter what, and then they also offer a call option. So but maybe at a very high strike price. So if we take a look at the current convertible voucher solution, we set up let's take this time as an example. We set up a low very low, I think, very low upper limit to extend the spot price for this for per tokens, and also a 0.5 a 50% a discount compared to the spot price as the lower bond. So actually, because we I should say from the technical a perspective, it's so difficult to make sure that all the DAOs or all the projects would finally pay back the stable coins. So now we make it more like a options instead of more like a bonds. But in the future, maybe I think if we can check all the liquidity or all the funds a DAO raised in through this solution, and to make sure that the funds could be transfer back to all the investors, then we can set up a higher upper limit and just cancel the lower limit. Then all the investors, all the convertible vouchers investors would they don't have to afraid of the lower limit, afraid of bearing the loss, because at least they can earn some interest, and maybe they can earn some a certain of upside if the price, the strike price is met. So that's the next step, actually, I think. And in the future, we will maybe offer two options to all the projects. One is kind of the DAOs only accept a upper limit combined with a lower limit. And then another option would be they would transfer back the stable coins, and for sure they committed to do that, and all the liquidity can be checked on chain. So there's only a upper limit there. So that's the next step for convertible vouchers, actually. And then and if we do so, actually, we can connect a lot of CeFi platform to get access to the public to buy this kind of convertible vouchers, because the public would think, oh, at least I can earn some interest, and there is a call option. I would think for this the optimized version has a good fit on a mass adoption as well. So that's the first the answer for your first question. And secondly, you mentioned that was the roadmap for Solv. Yeah, I think especially for DAO treasury management, that's the topic in my mind for the past 2 months. And I think like our vesting voucher is an NFT which contains the native tokens, so it can empower all the DAOs to manage vesting vouchers, manage vesting tokens through our solution very easily, user friendly, and without any coding work. So that one, actually, if all the DAOs take that solution, and we can build a secondary market for allocations, so we can release the dumping pressure on secondary market for spot tokens, because we have built a secondary market for allocations if we finally make it. So that's the thing in my mind. And also, if we combine the vesting vouchers with convertible vouchers together, you'll figure out that these two product lines has a very good fit on the DAO treasury management, and maybe that would be the topics or the main topics in the future for Solv to tackle or to meet all the financial needs from the DAOs. So that's the short term, the strategy. And for the long term, a roadmap, actually, we are thinking of tapping into the the metaverse and GameFi aspects, because vouchers is a very powerful key primitive in the space in crypto. So maybe we can leverage the advantage of our voucher to support some NFT financialization service for like GameFi, like some CryptoPunks bought a kind of a art or collectibles NFTs, or some GameFi in-game items kind of NFTs. So what is it? It would be a NFT installment purchasing. So we would allow all the users to buy the NFT in installment. So they just need to pay the down payment, and then it's just like a leverage. So they leverage on like CryptoPunks. Let's say a CryptoPunks maybe worth 100 ETH, then the buyer only need to pay like 10 ETH as down payment, and then for the rest of the money, he or she can pay a payouts maybe in the next 9 weeks kind of a period. So actually, if the price of the CryptoPunks just dropped, just plummeted, then they don't have to pay the rest of the money. It's just like a call option on NFT. It will be very interesting. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for sharing that, Ryan. Okay, so I think we're doing perfect on the time today. Just hit the 30-minute mark. Does any one of you have anything to add? Because I feel I think we've pretty much covered everything that needed to be covered, about this event. So, does any one of you have anything to add?
Not on my end.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I guess we'll just jump right into the Q&A session. We'll take some questions from the audience. I think someone just requested to speak. If you have a request to speak, I have approved it. I think then you can ask, either the co-founders the questions about this IBO. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you. Sorry, I joined a little late. A common question for Solvi. My question. You have Binance Labs support. This indicates that you may be listed on the Binance exchange in the future. Have you done any work on this Solv protocol, Binance listing?
Yeah, Johnny, you wanna answer first?
Yeah, I think our guest, it's being cut off a little bit. It's breaking up. Do you mean that we'll solve? What is Solv doing to list the token on Binance in the future? Is that what you're asking? Is that your question?
You have Binance Labs support. This indicates that you may be listed on the Binance exchange in the future. Have you done any work on this?
Oh, I got you. I understood the question. Yeah, I think for this question, because for listing is always a very, I should say it's a private, or I should say it's a not that private, or it's a confidential thing, because it would impact all the how the people would treat a Solv. So we should say we have got the very nice support from Binance Labs and also the Binance ecosystem, because we have we can list our vouchers on Binance NFT platform freely, and they actually have a cooperated with Binance NFT officially as well, and like kind of things you can check on our public a Twitter account. But a like listing process kind of things, actually we have to keep it confidential at the moment.
Thank you,
Ryan. Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. If anyone wants to ask questions, feel free to request to speak. You use the request to speak button. I think Tyler just request to speak.
Yeah. Hi guys. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Firstly, I really hope you guys could successfully done this auction, and I know you will. Yeah, and I just wondering, what will Perpetual do with this fund raised by convertible vouchers? I mean, what is the steps you will do in 2022?
Yeah, that's a good question. We basically plan to use a lot of these basic stable coins to effectively market make. So we market make on kind of Perpetual Protocol V2 currently. We plan to continue to do so, and the majority of these funds have basically been earmarked towards that. Otherwise, from an operational kind of perspective, we're pretty covered otherwise. So yeah.
Yes, Nick, I think maybe in the future, if all the money would be added in some kind of a liquidity pool on chain, maybe we can leverage borrow against the tokens to to borrow much maybe a larger amount of money to do so, and also we can like cancel the lower bond and just set up a very high upper limit and treat it as a non liquidation borrowing kind of things. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean we're projected to we need to basically source about 200 mil worth of stables by end of year. So whatever mechanism works for us, I guess.
Cool.
Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions? Looks like everyone's still thinking about this. If not, I have actually collected 2 questions from the community, and I'm looking at those questions. They're actually in Chinese, so I'm kind of gonna just translate them on the spot here. So okay, I think this comes from a investor. He's asking if he's holding a PERP voucher, is he able to use the voucher is he able to use that as a collateralized asset on the borrow and lending platform?
Yeah, I think not now, but in the future it would happen because we can see recently there are a lot of NFT lending protocols are emerging. So like I can name a lot like a Taker protocol, Themis, and like a Meta Street, NFTFi, a lot of them, and all of them. I should say most of them are invested by some big names, big VCs. So we can see this is a trend, but for now, a few of them have launched their products already. But I should say most of them are quite interested in supporting vouchers as collateral. So once they launch their products, then I think all the vouchers owner, especially some like PERP Convertible Vouchers owner or some Solv vesting voucher owner, I think you will be able to collateralize your vouchers there or out on their platform. Yeah, that's the cooperation. We have all cooperated with them already, actually.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Before I jump into my second question, I think 2 more people request to speak. If you're ready, you can shoot the question.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, thanks. So firstly, I'm just gonna say, great job to the team. Great job to the team, and I just have a simple question. And so, can we transfer a convertible voucher? And if so, how and where can it be done?
Yeah, very good question. So, I'm not sure have you tried out our products regarding the vesting voucher, because you actually now you can trade the vesting voucher on our marketplace freely. Like there are a lot of Solv vesting voucher which represent Solv allocations. So it's the kind of vesting. Yes. So just like vesting voucher, you can split it, merge it, transfer it, or list it on the marketplace. For convertible vouchers, it's totally the same. So you buy the vouchers and then split it, merge it, transfer it. So that's the kind of a product pattern on our for Solv. So we would mint different kind of vouchers which represent different financial ownerships, but all the vouchers could be operated just like you experience on the other one. So if you're familiar with vesting voucher, then it will be totally the same for convertible voucher.
Yeah, so basically, the operations of convertible voucher is exactly identical to the flexible voucher. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Thank you. That's all.
Yeah. And one more point here is that in the future, once we improve our convertible voucher and make the convertible voucher looks or act more like a bond, then these convertible vouchers, I would make sure that this convertible voucher could be used as a collateral on some lending protocol to to borrow against maybe the same nominal value back. Like if you have got a $1 million dollars worth a convertible vouchers, then you collateralize it maybe in the future on RV. Then actually, I think you can get maybe $1 million from RV. Why? Because all the liquidity can be checked on chain, and we can make sure that the liquidity will be transferred back to Solv Protocol to the vouchers owner. And also we would involve some third parties insurance protocol like Unslash. They would provide such kind of service to make sure that the money would be safe. And then for this vouchers, it would 100% represent a $1 million a payback, a cash flow in the future. So that's why we say it would be very interesting. And then if you hold these vouchers, not just you collateralize it, but also you can sell it on the marketplace. And if you sell it at maybe 5% discount, then maybe or 5 or 10% discount, a lot of people will come to here to buy it because everyone can make sure that they will get back the nominal value through this voucher. Then you give them like 10% discount. It will be a very high APY for the purchaser. So that's why we truly believe that you can cash out your vouchers not that difficultly.
Well, that's detailed enough and so brave. Great job to the team, right? Thank you.
Appreciate your question.
Thank you. What about Serena? You have request to speak a while ago. So.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for hosting this event. For sharing the information. So my question is actually can be followed by the previous one. I think there's a lot of potential for the vouchers to be utilized in DeFi, obviously. So I'm wondering, could you tell us more about how did you do to allowing the vouchers can be done those things? I mean, what's the technology behind it?
Hey Johnny, I'm sorry, Serena. I just missed your question, and that's a question for me or for Nick.
I think it's for you, Ryan. Can you tell us more about the token standard that make the vouchers happen?
Yeah, got you. I'm sorry that missed your question. So as you know, we built a token standard which called EIP 3525. So it's based on ERC 721. So it's compatible with ERC 721. That's why you can actually, if you bring the vouchers to OpenSea, to Rarible, to Binance NFT, kind of a NFT ERC 721 supportive a platform infrastructure, actually you will find out that it can all be supported by all those kind of platforms. Why? Because it's compatible with ERC 721. But actually, this one is way more powerful than ERC 721 because it's fractionalized. So you can split your NFT which based on a ERC 3525 easily. So just like our vesting voucher, like the nominal value, if the nominal value for our flexible voucher is a maybe 10,000 a Solv tokens, then you can split this a flexible voucher into any piece, small piece you want, like a 1 token piece or a 10 tokens piece or 100 token piece or 0.08 a token piece. So that's how it works. And if you take a look at conventional finance, we can figure out all the kind of the financial vouchers like CDs, like bonds, like some insurance policies. They can be split freely as well. And why we invent this token standard? Because we are quite familiar with the conventional finance, the mechanism. So we just want to bring that kind of a power to crypto.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And
we have another speaker looking to ask questions, probably. One more speaker.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for Nick. Yeah, I know that Perpetual is quite familiar with derivatives and as well as NFTs, and I wonder that will you consider adopting NFTs to create advanced financial instruments? What do you think the financial NFT that Solv is dedicated in? Yeah.
Long story short, probably not. Like our core competency, I guess, is more in building a kind of perpetual futures exchange that's decentralized. So there's kind of no plans to do that right now. We are in the process of building out an ecosystem where we have kind of partners that integrate various kind of products together. And given that kind of Solv is building another base layer, I wouldn't be surprised in the future if we see kind of a collaboration. Maybe there's a product that can be built on top of both of them, and then we kind of see some innovation out of that. But specifically to PERP going into kind of financial NFTs, that's probably not going to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the answer, Nick. Thank you for the questions. And I have another question just sent in here. It sounds like a question from someone who already owns a lot of Solv vouchers. He's asking, what's the timeline like for Solv's IDO launch? I think Ryan is probably better suited to answer this question.
Yeah, so for Solv IDO, so it means the issuing date of our tokens. So we are considering this for a long time. From maybe 1 year ago, we started these projects for around 15 months already, and actually we think the best timeline for us to issue token might if we can take a lot of good traction on our protocol and make more and more people to realize the value of vouchers, then I think it would be a good time for us to issue our token. And also we want to hear more voice from our communities to see what's the opinions on it. And also we have to negotiate with all the our IDO platforms and all the SECs as well to see what's the best way for us to launch the tokens. So yeah, I think probably in 2022 and maybe the mid of this year, June or July. But all the things are not decided yet. Now we just want to focus on products, to building a real useful products, just like these convertible vouchers, or in the future like installment purchasing kind of thing. And we just want to improve the products again and again. So yep, I think maybe the TVL like hit $500 million, and our daily or weekly average users can hit maybe 5,000 or 4,000. Then I think it would be a good traction for us to consider about the launching. But yeah, not yeah. They now all the things are not decided yet.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I have one last question for you. Coming from someone from the community, he's wondering why the APR for the PERP convertible voucher. He's wondering about the conservative APR with this voucher, and he's mentioned how yield farms for stable coins on a lot of platforms are providing APRs over 10%, and he mentioned the range token by UMA is providing even as high as a 25% APY. So basically he's he worries that the APR may be a little too low for some people. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and also I will invite Nick to share some opinions as well. But for me, I think this will be so. Like, firstly, 5% is not the things that we cannot change, because if you are familiar with the mechanism of convertible vouchers, actually it's like a zero coupon bond if it's being executed as a bond. So there's a nominal value for these vouchers. It would be $4 million, and then we would put a list order, put an order on the marketplace, like maybe at the price of 3.8 or $3.9 million. So the gap here is the interest for the purchasers that they can earn. And now we think 5% is kind of test and for all the purchaser. And if you think it's too low, if there's no one to buy this voucher, then maybe we can to just adjust the APY. But on the other hand, actually we have negotiated with some of the VCs and institutions and family office. Actually, they can accept 5% APY because their money maybe come from the conventional finance, and there's maybe zero APY there as a fiat. So then they when they find out a investment target just like 5%, they would think, oh, maybe it's quite fair. And if you take a look at all the crypto users, I think it makes sense as well, because if you just lend your stable coins on Aave or Compound, now it's 1 to 3%. If I'm not wrong, I just took a look at them just several days ago. So 5% is way higher than 1 to 3% for sure. And if you take out maybe the highest liquidity mining incentive in the space, it might be the Trader Joe. It's around 8%. So 5% is actually 3% less than 8, but it's still on the same level, I think. So that's the APY. But you need to notice that there is a corruption there. For me, personally quite bullish on Perpetual, like 2x upper limit of this compared to the spot price is not that high, I think, but it's personally it's a personal opinion. So if there is a corruption, if you can enjoy a certain of upside through these convertible vouchers, then I think it might be it's a better choice for all the lenders on Compound or Aave. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with all those points. I would also say that if we think about the kind of risk we talked about before, you put something in Compound that's very, very low risk, right? Like you put something in some shitcoin yield farm, you might get like something higher, and this kind of sits somewhere in the middle, just because it's kind of over collateralized, as kind of the first point. The second point I'll actually make is that a lot of the farms that you are, or kind of this question, this person who asked, is pointing to variable rates, right? So the rates will move over time. So it might be 25% today, it might be 10%. The next day it might go to 3%, and so the way to think about this is that you are getting a fixed yield of 5% over the next kind of 4 months, and you take it from there, and that's in a stable, and it's kind of very, very not very risky. And then you have that additional kind of call option, which is the nice kicker. If you then look at, I guess, a lot of the fixed yield products, so I don't know, Element or Pendle or whatnot, a lot of those kind of stable yields are sitting at about the 2 to 3% as well. So this is effectively double that. So I guess it just depends on what you compare it to, right? Like you can't compare, just as you wouldn't compare Compound to, I don't know, like an Ohm. You wouldn't compare necessarily something like this to kind of like a variable rate kind of farm. Is the best way to think about it.
Thank you both for sharing your thoughts on this. And there's actually someone just sent me this question. So when the IDO was launched, is the Solv token going to be listed on Binance?
Yeah, that's a similar question.
He's really interested in trading Solv on Binance platform in the future. So
yeah, it seems they are all Binance users as well. Yeah, I think still we have to keep it confidential, but maybe at least everyone can trade our tokens on like Uniswap, on some SushiSwap kind of DEX, and to put some scheme into the game. And if you are really bullish on vouchers, because we are looking for at the early stage, especially, we are looking for some early adopters and also the early supporters who are really believe or who are really interested in a voucher finance. That's the lifestyle kind of lifestyle for DeFi. We believe voucher finance. So some of the financial contract can be represented by vouchers in the form of ERC 3525, and all the things are visualized. You can understand the exact financial project meanings very easily, and also you can split it freely. You can trade it on marketplace freely on whatever a marketplace like OpenSea, Rarible, and Binance NFT kind of a platform. So that's what we are seeking for. And for Binance One, yeah, I'm so sorry that I totally understand that you are very interested in this question, but yeah, we need to keep it confidential.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Yes, as Ryan has pointed out, I mean, obviously, we really appreciate the interest and love coming from the community, but there's timeline. There's a timeline that we need to commit it to when it comes to making schedule like IDO or exactly what platform we're going to list the Solv tokens in the future. So, but thank you for the question. Okay, so one last question for Nick, just to going off of the last question you answered. I mean, obviously, this investor is quite sophisticated. He has done a lot of research on both platforms and made a lot of comparisons. So he gave me this number where he's saying, okay, if he stakes PERP token on the PERP DApp, he will get about 10%. Return, also receives a call option that seems a little higher and much higher than the 5% APR if he buys a PERP convertible voucher. Do you have anything to say to that investor?
Yes, I mean, if he's been kind of following along, those staking rewards have been reducing over time and will probably continue to do so over a period of time. So again, it's not fixed. It's kind of variable, and it's going down as we kind of shift rewards into kind of other more kind of productive mechanisms right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. Does anyone else have any questions to ask? Either Ryan or Nick. Okay. Okay, great. Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder that PERP Convertible Voucher offering is going to take place tomorrow. And if you're listening to this, then you have a chance to win one of the 5 whitelist spots for this IVO if you give Solv Protocol and Perpetual Protocol a follow on Twitter and retweeted our latest tweet with a question for Perpetual Protocol. We've answered a lot of questions, some of the great questions for this IVO, and I wanted to thank all of you guys to come here and join us for this our first ever Twitter Spaces. And also, of course, thanks to Ryan and Nick for being with us today. I guess I'll see you. I guess we'll see you around.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Okay. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye now.